Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Earrings Off. We want to invite you to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. You can find us on Facebook at Earrings Off Podcast and on Instagram at The Earrings Off Podcast.
Welcome to Earrings Off. I'm Lou.
And I'm Teresa. Let's get started.
Well, Teresa, I saw something about World Kindness Day. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, now see, that's an observance that I can agree with and support, because especially now that, it's so much going on, so much divisiveness, and people behaving badly across all different arenas, that anytime that we have an observance that applauds or encourages us to be kind to one another, I am in full support of that.
I would like to see this day broadcasted on the news.
Yeah.
The fact that it's happening and encourage people to be kind, but we won't see that.
Yeah.
We won't see that. So I'm glad we're actually talking about it so that we can make people aware that it does exist. And I'm sure our listeners, we don't have to give them an excuse to be kind to one another. They already are. Yeah. But, it is one of those things that, just there's scientific evidence that shows.
I was just about to go there.
Yeah. That, there are positive effects when you actually do a kind deed for someone, as well as receive a kind deed, and even observing kind deeds being done.
Well, and that's very true. I saw that, and I also saw that even just remembering a kind deed, something that you did in the past, or a kind deed that was extended to you in the past, just recalling that memory is very good for your health.
That makes a lot of sense.
Like, wow, so that's a big, kindness is a big win. All the way around.
The way.
Yeah. So, that's what we're talking about today, just kindness. And when I thought about that, the example that I thought about for me personally, and this might be sharing too much, but here I go anyway. A few years ago, I had, like an outpatient minor procedure. And, but anyway, I had to be under anesthesia. And my body never reacts well to anesthesia. It just does not. So after the procedure, I have a walking buddy that I walk with about 3 times a week. And, at that time, we were walking about 3 or 4 times a week. And she knew that I had been under anesthesia the day before, but the next day was our walking day. And so when I spoke to her, I said, well, I'm feeling a little like I'm not really up to it. And she said, because she knows how I am about trying to make sure that I stay on my routine and try to exercise. And she said, are you sure? And I said, well, I don't know. I'm just not feeling 100%. She said, well, because at that time, we were doing the 10,000 steps when we would go walking. She said, but that's okay. She said, I'm still, how about we just go and you see how you feel? And so we got together at our usual walking place, and I really was very, very slow. And she just walked with me the whole time, didn't do her usual pace. And we were just taking a few steps at a time. And she'd say, are you okay? Well, do you want to stop? You all right? And that was constant. And that did something to me, to see how, when I was in a vulnerable place, my friend wanted me to know, I got you. I got
Yeah.
you. Whatever
Yeah.
you need, you're going to dictate what we do or what we don't do. And that was a kindness that was extended to me. Teresa, you told me that don't beat you up, but I just have to think the Teresa that I know, the way you are such a warrior about exercise, had that been you, I don't think you would have been. I think you would have been probably pushing me and calling me all kinds of names. So, I just remember that my friend Faye was generous and kind to me. Okay, that was my whole point of.
I think you're right. I would have said, put your big girl panties on.
I
Let's
know
do
you
this
would have.
thing.
I know
It's the
you would
best
have.
thing for you.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
you
the
would have.
best thing for you.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And
Because
then
I know you can.
and then you wonder why I say you're some kind of nut. But anyway, I'm just saying. But seriously, that just touched me because I was not feeling well that day, and I probably would
Right.
not have
Mm-hmm.
gone, but for the fact that I knew I was in good hands with her, and that she was going
Yeah.
to help me get through it. So yeah,
Right.
yeah,
That was nice.
yeah.
I've had lately, I'm going to tell you in the last 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
this has happened a couple of times where I have been going through the drive-through at Starbucks, and when I get my cup, uh they tell me that it's been paid for. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's
by
a
the car
nice
ahead of me.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And so then what I do is I pay for the
yeah,
person behind me. Now
yeah.
I have to admit, I guess I'm a little heathen in this, in that I've never initiated it, but
Mhm.
I've responded to it.
But
Each
that's
time I
okay.
respond to it.
That's great
Yeah, yeah.
though.
The first time it happened to me, which was longer than in the last 3 months, but the first time I was like, who was that?
Yeah,
Who was that? I want to know who that was, because
yeah,
I didn't pay any attention. And why
yeah,
did they do that? Because I
yeah,
didn't know that it was a thing.
yeah,
And since then, it might have even been more than a couple of times that it has happened to me. I mean, it's
yeah.
funny because I went through the line like after I paid for someone paid for mine. I paid for the car behind me. The next time I went to Starbucks, there was no one in line, and Starbucks didn't charge me because what happened was the drink I ordered, they made it into a venti. Like I
Uh-huh.
didn't get the large, and
Yeah.
they said on the house because they made the mistake. And
Oh
they gave
wow.
it to me. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
that's thank you, Lord. I mean, that was
oh
just
yeah. Yeah.
a simple thing, but it just really kind of made my day.
Well, I was about to say, isn't that something how when someone's kind to you, how it just touches you though?
Oh
I
gosh,
mean,
it
yeah,
really, it
yeah.
really just does.
Well, and I tell you, I can relate to not only when someone's kind to you, but when you extend a kindness, how it
Yes.
makes you feel. Because a couple of weeks ago, I was going somewhere and I saw this young mom with a stroller, and her kid was in the stroller. But we were both approaching these steps, and I think they wanted to go in the building, but the only way we saw to get in was at the top of the steps, and you could tell she was looking and she had the stroller, and I looked back at her. I said, I got the front, you okay with the back? And she
Yeah.
looked, she said yeah. And so we carried the
The
stroller up the
yeah.
stairs, and
Yeah.
I was just so proud of myself
Yeah.
that it was
Yeah.
like, mom to mom, woman to woman, you want to let each other
Oh
know, you
yeah.
know what, I got you, no
Yeah.
worries. And so yeah, that sort of, I was thankful for that, for
I would
that moment to be of help.
Right. I was in the grocery store, and there was this handicapped woman in one of the automated wheelchair cart things.
Hmm.
And she had done all of her shopping, and she was about to check out.
Hmm.
And I only had a couple of items that I only went in for a couple of things, and I carried in my hand. I didn't have a cart or a basket. And I said to her, go ahead. And she goes, you only have a couple of things. No, you go ahead.
Hmm.
And so I was like, okay, sure. So I went ahead, and then I saw her struggling to stand up to remove her items from her
Hmm.
from the basket on her cart onto the belt to pay for them, to get ready to pay for them. And I said to her, I said, would you mind if I helped you? And she paused and looked at me. I thought she was going to say something really mean. Like she was stunned by the question, right? And she looked at me and I said, and I was waiting for her to kind of lay me out. That's what I was expecting to happen. She said, you know what? I so appreciate you asking if I wanted help, because the first inclination of anyone is to just do it. And she said, as you can tell, I have some problems, but what I absolutely like to do is to help myself when I can. And people make the assumption that I need help all the time. And she said, I appreciate you asking me. And I said, oh, no problem. I would never put myself in your space without first checking. And she said, that made all the difference in the world. And she said, thank you, but I got it.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
Because I'm telling you, Teresa, as you're sharing that, the reality is I would have been one of those people that just reached in to help,
Yeah.
And that's not the best response.
Yeah,
so I
that's right.
love what you did in that.
Yeah.
Because
I didn't, that was, okay, I'm scared to say it. That was my natural response, but I don't want you to beat me up for that.
No, I'm not, because seriously, when you were saying that, no, but I was thinking that's something I need to be mindful of. That that I do a better job of meeting people where they are and not making assumptions, that I know what will be a kindness to them. And that I have a sister that's legally blind, and I'm always mindful that I don't overstep with her, and that I also, when I communicate to family members and I interact with them, I'm letting them know that we are not to be dismissive of her because of her limitations. But what you just shared, I need to be aware of that with strangers and not just jump in. So thanks for sharing that. And as usual, it made me look bad, but I'm okay with that. Now listen, well, what I did see.
Wait a minute.
What I did see, and I thought this was something
okay,
a good story to share.
Okay.
And this was actually from was New York Times. No. This was from one of the magazines, but it's called 7 Miles from Me. Leaving a store, I returned to my car only to find that I'd locked my keys out and my cell phone was inside. A teenager riding his bike saw me kick a tire and say a few choice words. What's wrong? He asked. I explained my situation. But even if I could call my wife, I said, she can't bring me her car key since this is our only car. He handed me his cell phone. Call your wife and tell her I'm coming to get her key. That's 7 miles round trip. That's what I said to the teenager. He said, don't worry about it. An hour later, he returned with the key. I offered him some money, but he refused. Let's just say I needed the exercise. Then, like a cowboy, the teenager rode off into the sunset. And that's
nice.
from Clarence Stevens. Isn't that something?
That is so nice. Yeah. And a teenager, no less.
Yeah. Right.
That gives me hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, it's about doing what we can to be supportive and kind in our everyday experiences, because we've all heard and know you have no idea what another person may be dealing with.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Yeah.
World Kindness Day is in November. Be sure to celebrate and not just wait for that day. Be kind to someone daily.
And always remember to always take a minute, even when you rush, to just observe and see, can you maybe make someone else's day just a little bit brighter? Take good care.